else and see what priority can be focused here. A good hover from Dhokla. He's going to have a tough game against Licorice. Licorice's stats kind of top Dhokla's just by a few in each category, so he's got his work cut out for him. But the Akali is first pick, which we saw C9 doing recently.
Yeah, we've seen C9 doing it. We've seen Huni playing with it. We actually haven't seen OpTic play it all split. So
breaking it out
with everything on the line, knowing they need a win, that's a very interesting first pick for them because they give over they don't give over actually huge power picks to Cloud9, but definitely strong champions in Ezreal.
It is intention, right? That says somebody's going to make plays. I believe that's going to Crown in the mid lane, as Dhokla is more of that kind of Aatrox bruiser player. Split push, if you will. We haven't seen him on too many assassins as Meteos rotates around, gets his King of the Jungle pick hovered over there from the beginning of his time in the LCS, and it is going to be a Sivir lock-in for OpTic Gaming.
Yeah, even though this isn't necessarily the kill lane bot that Mark was hoping for in OpTic win conditions, it is Arrow's most played champion this split. He is currently 2-4 on that Sivir, but when they first pick the Akali, it does signal a little bit more around trying to play around the solo lanes, which is traditionally what C9 has been doing, especially when they have Sneaky in the lineup. It's very heavy ganks around the solo lanes, whether it's Blaber or Svenskeren there in the jungle.
And you're basically getting what Zeyzal wanted. Safety so far. You got a Sejuani for when you get into the fight phase, if you can avoid dying to those aggressive solo lanes. What is the pick for Nisqy here? He's been known to take his champion pretty willy-nilly. I think maybe he give it to the rest of the team here so he can get a round out in the last pick.
Yeah, they have to account for the Akali flex.
Ooh, okay. Kled gets locked in.
Yeah, definitely seeing more Kled since the buffs on 914, although the champ itself hasn't shown a huge amount of success. We did see C9 actually lose with this pick last week, but overall, 1 and 2 in the LCS, and C9 giving it another go.
And we've seen it go to different positions as well. It'd be interesting to see if Nisqy takes this in whatever matchup he finds himself in.
You could see a Kled mid. I mean, that's something that Doinby played a lot of over in the LPL even before the buff, so not completely unheard of, but that would definitely be a surprising thing to see.
For sure. Second phase of bans coming through. OpTic Gaming, as we said, looking to lock in that position for playoffs. Number 5 with a win here against Cloud9. Cloud9, however, doing very well in the standings for themselves, looking for this victory, and a lot of people think that they are going to be able to take it on this game. So OpTic has their work cut out for them. We have a few more bans to come through as the Braum obviously taken away from that death ball composition. If you put Braum and Sej together, you have one hell of a fight team, and Cloud9 will not get that.
Yeah, just to clarify, it could be a tiebreak for 5th or 6th. They would clinch the playoffs with it, but doesn't change the importance of this match right here for OpTic, as the Poppy ban is interesting. It's almost like Cloud9 is signaling that Crown is the one who is, that they're thinking Crown is going to be the one to play Akali because they're trying to stop the Poppy from going up against Kled top lane. I'm also, to go back a bit, still a little bit surprised that OpTic has been first rotation banning Aatrox on blue side when it is first pickable, and it is something Dhokla had done so extremely well on, but they do continue that trend from last week. Whenever this patch 914 hit and Aatrox lost revive, OpTic has shied away from playing.
We get the mana upgraded Alistar locked in. We've seen him a few more times. We saw him Academy as well. But Alistar is in super safe bottom side lane now. They can't really get ganked too much unless Meteos is going to want to come from behind the turret, as you're going to have Alistar in lane with an Ezreal now.
Yeah, Tahm Kench fairly good against the Alistar, as long as he keeps his spacing a little bit away from the AD carry. So if the Pulverize does come in, the Tahm Kench isn't CC'd and just walk in, scoop that AD carry up. But I do like seeing Zeyzal on Alistar. It is a tremendously strong playmaking champion for the team, and I feel like since he's such a strong shot caller, he actually shines when he's able to play melee initiation supports, and Alistar is one of the best.
And it feels really good as an Alistar in lane against the Sivir. You can break shield going in with headbutt pulverize composition, so that engage always feels good. The Azir does get locked in, so without a Corki, let's see what we have up against the Azir here for Nisqy in the mid lane.
Yeah, that's actually a fairly common composition right now, where you're seeing the kind of hyperscaling wave clear champions in mid bot with the more volatile top lane Akali. But this Irelia would be, I think, a good pick and would still play towards the style of C9 if they throw this Irelia mid lane to try and create some kill pressure onto the Azir. The Sejuani Irelia is what many teams consider the best 2v2 in the game because Irelia has such strong engage range and also benefits from applying stacks of Sejuani Frost so that they can get easier stuns. So that should apply a lot of pressure and will really kind of test this synergy between Blaber and Nisqy, whether or not they can take over the game together.
And do you fear too much AD coming from the side of C9, or do you get enough of that AP out of the late game Ezreal?
Yeah, I think that is definitely a consideration they have to make, but if you look at the team of OpTic, if they do armor stack, then it's going to be on the Jarvan and the Tahm Kench,
True.
and I think since a lot of Ezreal builds can very easily tweak towards Gunblade and Ludens in the late game, that is something they're going to be able to get by with. Also, Irelia has some magic damage on the passive. There's little sneaks of magic damage throughout the team.
That's true.
That is probably okay.
The last day of the regular season and game one of it. OpTic Gaming versus Cloud9. And chat, we could have 3 more tiebreakers today. Or 3 tiebreakers, not 3 more, but 3 more games of tiebreakers. And I am so ready to see it. The players are definitely going to have to play their best all day long, kind of without that knowledge that it may be another tiebreaker, depending on how the rest of the games play out. So each one as it comes. This one's OpTic versus Cloud9, and OpTic is looking for a playoff position.
Yeah, they're looking to keep that season going, Riv. The difference that today can make could be their season is over, they wouldn't have enough championship points to make it to the regional qualifier, they'd have no shot at Worlds, or they can win and all those possibilities open up.
It's absolutely crazy too, because it's been a bit of a roller coaster the past few weeks for them. A team that starts off very strong, crowns in and out, but you're still seeing success with Scarlet, so we've seen them get over some speed bumps without too much trouble. Here now, coming to the playoffs, we get to see if they can pull out that last ounce of effort and find themselves in that position of playoffs for the first time.
Yeah, lots of posturing for position in the river right now. Even in the bot lane as well, just so much early game aggression coming in, also knowing that Blaber is in the game right now, trying to create that bit of a wild card from the jungler. It does kind of seem to me like whenever a jungler is out of the LCS for a while and then comes in for the first game, you're almost expecting them to have some intricate plan. Some would call it level 2 cheese, but I feel like it happens enough that it is actually one of the optimal ways you can play the jungle of, okay, what route can either get a good level 2 gank off or a good level 2 counter jungle off to kind of set the stage for the rest of the game. We saw this yesterday with Spica from TSM going in to steal a blue buff right away. Actually, as Jarvan in this exact position where Meteos is right now, but I mean, they even have a ward on the blue buff, so that could actually be a possibility that Meteos could go, actually, as you can see here, from blue buff up towards, or sorry, red buff up towards this blue buff, but we'll end up seeing what happens. It would be open to him, actually, based on Blaber going Krugs. Meteos decides not to make that risk, though.
It almost works out as well. You have a Sivir that would be able to push the lane. Might be a little too hard once you get there, though, if you have an Alistar coming to find you in the jungle. So off and running are the junglers to start things here. Sneaky taking a lot of damage in the beginning of this one. A few more shots and they'll definitely bring him below 100 HP, but he is good for now. He does not get devoured up by Big, and they actually hold summoners on that to say, we'll take that lane advantage all day.
Yeah, and no heal in these lanes either with the Ignite coming in from the Alistar. So Sneaky definitely having to use some of those potions, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not C9 tries to play around this lane at all, knowing the Tahm Kench is difficult to gank, and also also knowing that the Alistar could be good for gank assist. Usually, when Sneaky and Zeyzal are in bottom lane, it is the jungle ganks going towards the mid and the top lane, and that's what Sven's scared mostly. Blaber, yet to be seen. He's only played 3 games so far this split. A lot of damage.
Ezreal chased down. Not the greatest early game. Good autos. Whoa, one more hit. Oh, he flashes for it. Flash for flash. A little bit better for Azir to shuffle out of lane, but now we got Big in a really bad situation. Shot from Sneaky just misses there. Crown's going to try to give him a little assistance. That's the flash forward from Blaber. A few more hits, but he's not able to lock down the passive. And Zeyzal's going in! The 3-man pulverize! First blood from going against OpTic here for Cloud9 as the rotation from bottom lane at 3 minutes comes in.
Wow, we'll have to see what what Big was doing in the river right there. And now no flash on Crown!
A big mistake, a little overplayed there as Crown waits too long to go back and gets taken down.
yeah, he never got to reset because of the skirmish that happened in the river. And whenever you actually go flash for flash against a champion who wants to all in like Irelia, if there is no kill, it's actually advantage to the guy with higher kill pressure. So Nisqy barely surviving, but in getting that flash for flash trade about a minute ago was able to pay it forward. And that is exactly the type of start that C9 wants. They burn summoner spells throughout the map.
Here it is again.
And it was basically big, just looking for extended vision on that blue buff, trying to actually ward off that earlier gank. And Sneaky doesn't get assist credit for this one, but he does actually aid in pushing that fight towards the mid lane. And that's also the type of aggressive early play you'll see from Blaber. Very early flash to get big low enough so that Zeyzal could come in for that execute on the flash of his own.
I'm watching the bottom wave on this as well as we see the kill going down on the Crown now. Sneaky didn't miss too many minions on that. It wasn't bouncing off his turret. Some smiles all around.
Nisqy kind of knows that he didn't really feel like he deserved that one, but the wave was in the right spot, and it almost felt like Crown was still thinking about the previous fight that happened. Oh yeah, they just burned a bunch of flashes. Surely nothing else is going to happen in the mid lane here. He was definitely wrong, and he pays the price.
You gotta mix in the very low cooldown of death timers right now, and teleports back to lane are almost instant. Nisqy, a few more shots, could get that kill going back over, but Crown comes up, Crown goes down! Give it over to Nisqy now, but it looks like they're gonna get the double kill for Blaber!
Oh man, Nisqy is having a blast right there. Those are just straight 2v2 kills, but Nisqy's more laughing like, oh man, what are OpTic doing?
Yeah.
Because OpTic definitely pressing, feeling like they kind of need to win this game. I mean, Crowd just keeps getting Nisqy extremely low, and it makes him go too hard, right? He gets interrupted by Blaber's very nice Q right there, but ends up taking a turret shot, means he falls to Blaber and the minions, and then it's just a level 3 Jarvan in the mid lane that with an Irelia who has a full stack passive can pick it up, and that can be a tilter. That's a tough one to come back from now that they're 2.3 thousand gold down, as well as 0-2 on that mid lane Azir now out of summoners.
So early into the game, was talking about Licorice versus Dhokla's stats a little bit earlier. Licorice just above in percentages for about each category, and now he might even get the kill. Flashes forward, gets Skarl to hop off. One more shot, he's good. Not heated up just enough. Licorice hotter than that on the play, and it looks like he gets back. Teleports down, so he's got a long walk. He might make it out, flag over the wall. meteos is gonna wait it off, flag and drag. And he's gonna pick it up. Nicely done there. There are just kills left and right this game.
Oh man, C9 really coming in hot at the start of this game. meteos just trying to keep OpTic alive with this, but we're gonna watch the solo kill. It's really all about landing that initial Q, making sure he can get the pull. Kled also stacks up as Conqueror. Dhokla was hoping to trade back, but the reduced duration on this Akali Shroud may have thrown Dhokla for a bit of a loop on this patch right here. Licorice, of course, gets the next bear trap up. And we got another fight mid-riv.
Oh, that's going to be Vanguard's edge down on the Crown. He gets out alive, but that's going to be a dash in from Nisqy as he blade surges more gold into his pocket. meteos is on his tail now, but the rest of Cloud9 is already rotated up. Zeyzal is omnipresent this game. Nisqy stays a bit too long as he plays with fire on that one. And it's meteos picking up a second kill already.
Yeah, meteos not really the type to carry the games on tank Jarvan. He would hope that those kills would be going over to his solo lanes, but he is
not lying.
Put in that position of cleanup. And because of all this action that has pulled people to the top lane, C9 actually able to get a turret plate down for the bottom, and that's going to really help Sneaky with the tier first. Going to use that gold. So much proactivity coming from the C9 team early.
Yeah, you think of how a Sivir and Kench lane would play out. That's Ezreal and Alistar's plates going down, but you are absolutely correct, Jatt. There's been so much chaos in the early game. Sneaky has made a lot of work of that. Free goal for him on the bot side, and now they have positioning over a Drake with good vision.
Yeah, it just happens to be Infernal as well. I'm sure C9 won't be happy about this one. And now I want to pay attention to what happens between now and 20 minutes, because when I was comparing Blaber with Svenskeren, and even though the sample size is very small, Blaber's only played 3 games, C9 had only won 1 of those games. Yet, the early game statistics for Blaber were better than Svenskeren.
100% kill, or first blood.
100% first blood. And also better than any other jungler in the LCS. Both Blaber and Svenskeren were the 2 best. Where Blaber and C9 hasn't looked as well is transitioning the early game advantages they get with him to later game wins. But this early game is going to keep coming.
It looks like they're going to get the Ignite down as well. No already used. They don't need that extra damage. They're following up with the DPS coming in from Nisqy. A few more shots. A double kill for the bot laner.
And this is exactly what Nisqy and Zeyzal want. They want jungle attention so they can make proactive plays. That was a flashless Sivir and an exhaustless Tahm Kench that, because they brought the gank at the right time, they easily convert. It's now a huge lead for the bot lane of C9.
Can't wait to see this one again, but just as we see on the bottom of the screen, those stats between Arrow and Nisqy. Give it up a moment for Zeyzal. Yesterday had a fantastic game. Him and Svenskeren basically 1v9, or 2v9ing everything, if you will. But again, all over the map to start things off, and the engages double pulverized to get this one, and a follow-up for Nisqy's double kill.
Yeah, I like the patience from Blaber to wait for his Q until after Tahm Kench had spat out the Sivir from the Devour, and then also tanking during aftershock.
It never ends, Jack. Crown goes down. They are tarnishing that reputation.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be another 2 kills going over to C9. It's never just one. They are scooping these up along with the gold.
Over a kill a minute for C9. This is the type of threat that C9 wants to put fear into other teams with as they move towards playoffs. Winning this game does keep C9's hope of a playoff bye alive as well. And kind of what Reaper said is, he doesn't think putting Blaber in is going to reduce their chances. They are so proactive. By the way, here comes Irelia.
Look at the timing they have to make on these plays. Assess the threat, find the target, give the kill to Nisqy. And Cloud9 is starting to pocket a lot of gold. Looking at 5,000, 4.5. If you want to be accurate, already at 10 minutes into the game. Pressure coming in from Dhokla.
And we don't even have time to tell you what happened in the previous fight because the next one's coming. Zeyzal's roll mid.
Crown's mid again. He tries to shuffle himself to safety, but it looks like they're going to shuffle him under the rug. No, he does get out of this one. And that's one of the times that the pressure stops for C9. I don't think it's going to end, though. They will continue as the dancing begins.
Yeah, he only has that stopwatch once. He's not getting another one for a long time if you look at his components. He still needs to go Lunen's Nashor's Tooth. Let's see which one this is. I believe this is where Nisqy actually gets the kill, and it's because Crown went for it. Beautiful dash forward to avoid the Emperor's Divide.
Licorice.
Tags him with the ultimate, gets the resets. And now, hey, look, they're on meteos. I think he's dead. How many replays have we come out of, Riv, for another C9 kill?
A lot.
They're not giving us... They're over a kill a minute. Normally, replays take like 30, 45 seconds to set up, so we're already into another kill by the time they go into it. This is an incredibly fast pace.
It's ridiculous, too, because the teams are there for each other. Meteos and Crown are in on the gank as well. Again, another fight towards the bot side. They want to throw down on the hunt. Abyssal Voyage out of this one. Over the wall! Big is huge! Are you kidding? That was sick.
Barely gets him. Nice aim and prediction by Big over the wall. They're going to need many more of those to kind of get control of this game back. One thing to point out is Dhokla actually has a very big CS lead in the top lane. That's the one thing that hasn't been involved in all of this chaos. Will be very hard for a melee assassin like that, though, to get work done against the CC of a Sejuani Alistar.
Yeah, the entire team is nobody you can really execute. Licorice has a way to get out on Skarl, and Blaber and Zeyzal are just going to be huge.
1v2.
Crown, he tries to bait this one over the wall, but Nisqy's going to be huge. That's one Blade Surge that doesn't come up big with a reset, so he's now stuck in the Cataclysm, maybe over the wall. Oh, the true chaperone right at the channel. This is disgusting from Cloud9.
Nisqy just coming from below. Able to give that assistance. If that True Shot Barrage didn't kill Azir, it's probably a kill in the other direction rather than 2 in the favor of C9. And by the way, here we go.
Oh, here's a Rift Herald. Lick the brush.
They're going for it.
Throw your tongue in there. It's going to be a kill on the plates. It's going to be a kill on the big. It's not much he's going to be able to do to get out of this one. And Licorice is even here to play. I like the Minions effort. Minions effort on the Rift Herald is actually huge here. And this is a bit of a mistake. Dhokla's now able to find the squishy members. This is what we were talking about. If he can get to C9 before they get tanky, he comes up big. Now he's got a CS lead and 2 kills to his name. Bear Trap is on to big. He's going to be able to get the lick, but it's just a little wide to the right, and this fight ends. But OpTic, stop the bleeding.
I wish we could see teams play like this all the time, Riv.
Right there with you.
19 kills, 13 minutes. C9 is actually going for
a dream
for every play, and it is a struggle for OpTic to keep up. That is a situation where OpTic did keep up, but part of it was also because the Rift Herald couldn't charge. So The big thing that C9 wanted to do in that play was get the Rift Herald to kill the turret to enable the safe dive, but the Rift Herald got caught on minions, and C9 couldn't clear them in time, which then bought enough for Dhokla to be able to make it in. And Crown is just in a miserable situation right now. Nisqy actually going a different build than you normally see. Doesn't rush Trinity Force, instead rushes Ravenous Hydra. I don't mind it in this situation because Crown really only way to fight back is to sustain, to poke him out.
Here's this replay.
Watch this one more time. So Rift comes in, but it does get caught on the minions. If he would have been able to summon it slightly closer, it would have auto-acquired the turret to charge, or if they could have CS'd. But by the way, every time there is a replay, someone on OpTic dies.
Nobody's going to follow that.
He's away.
Ooh. Okay, we're breaking the consistency. OpTic needs to start fighting back a little bit more, though. Good words in there from Big as he gets vision onto Licorice. They need to start being able to use where this positioning is coming up for them, though. No pressure on the mid turret as a wave just crashes in. They could be getting free shots there, but Crown has to back. A little discombobulated here, but damage on that bot turret from Arrow. It looks like he is going to be able to take it down. Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah,
who's first?
C9.
That was close.
Very close. The extra first turret gold is going to be over to C9. And hello. Meteos is waiting for the turret dive.
Oh my god, Nisqy plays him out on that one, but it's going to be a 3v1. He is just going to flash himself out safely. Still, that summoner spell's down, but he is toying with his opponents right now each time they step to. Steal on blue as Blaber and team walk away from the jungle of OpTic.
And now the big thing about the Ravenous Hydra is he's going to be able to sustain back up pretty high, or just, you know, go for another kill. You didn't need the Ravenous Hydra for that one. Just needed the 4 people. I feel like this is definitely a little bit of tilt from Crown, but at the same time, there has been a party in his lane the entire game. And he's the type of player who doesn't want to cede advantages if he doesn't have to. It's just C9 and Nisqy have a total killer instinct with Zeyzal roaming mid, Sneaky ulting mid. We haven't seen the Licorice ult mid yet.
Oh no, he did come down. He came down for the second kill on one of them. He was late. He didn't really do much on that. Yeah. It was like, I'll put my hand in the pie too, but it was already gone. So they are actually, that's what I was saying before, is Zeyzal, that where you're talking about, was 3 minutes mid when most of the team was following up on the first play. This game has been at an insane pace. And it's kind of what teams have been talking about. If you can set your own pace, you can control it all the way through. Nisqy's going to try to get defense on the turret. Zeyzal's just on this side. OpTic needs to close down on Blaber's health bar right now, or the turret first. They're not really choosing one or the other. They finally get the turret. Now they can focus on the Blaber. Zeyzal's there. No rotation from other C9 members, but is it pushed mid from Sneaky as Zeyzal goes down and those buffs are refreshed over to OpTic.
Wow, and that actually closes the gold to only 3,000. And when we try and compare that to all the proactive plays we've been complimenting C9 on, you would almost expect this to be a 7,000 or 8,000 gold game. And this is the this is the fascinating thing about Blaber on C9. He makes so many great plays, but then there's these as well, where they're attempting to 2v4 hold the turret, and OpTic catches them here. And I want to know what the communication is at the end here, because Zeyzal going in like that is never going to save Blaber. And it is actually just an additional kill that goes over to OpTic. So if you do think about the overall scaling, if Crown and Arrow can ever get that, look at this recovery.
That's ridiculous.
By OpTic. A whole 15 minutes worth of C9 plays, and the last 3 minutes have brought back over half of that advantage.
You have another 3K back in the pocket of OpTic as they catch up ever so slowly, but with the right plays. Here comes the ultimate from Kled. Everybody's trying to follow in. Zeyzal doesn't get enough range to get an pulverize in. They will start to back off. They don't have any movement around the map really other than Dhokla, who still is up in CS 4-1-2, but has to find these fights as they have already started to happen, or he will be the target. He will go down fast. We'll see how OpTic starts to play the split push and spread C9 thin.
Yeah, so much of OpTic's gold is on Dhokla, so we really need to focus on him. 7,800 gold. Actually, the richest player in the game. Temporarily before Sneaky took away CS. Competing with Sneaky for the carry award in this one. So pay attention to actually those two. Kind of interesting how Nisqy isn't the one who has the most gold for C9. It's because of potentially the shutdown gold and diminishing returns on killing Crown over and over again.
You know, we have seen Dhokla on the Irelia, the TF for diversity, but It's been mostly that Aatrox, mostly the big fighters. We don't expect to see huge plays from an assassin on him, but definitely showing that versatility. Pushing out Zeyzal. It's great that Dhokla has eyes on him. Zeyzal can't find a way even with Hex Flash just coming up. This wall, though, could be that option. Hex Flash over the wall. Zeyzal's right in on a double pulverize as they finally lost vision. Emperor's Divide is back as Dhokla's now the only one on the top trying to get that shroud to cover his vision. And now he's going to get perfect execution to safety. The rest of OpTic is able to skirt out of that, and they only lose big.
And that is one thing to note when C9 has Blaber in the lineup. There's very rarely a question of which team is going to engage. It's going to be Blaber.
Very true.
They just kind of brute force their way in, actually get a well-aimed ultimate onto Arrow that takes him out of the fight, and it gives them enough of an early edge that they can take that fight down.
He has 600 gold. Might go back and get himself that Ruby Crystal. We'll see. He is about 300 health away from cresting that Warmog's buff. Right. So he's got a little bit of time, but still, they are just fierce in these fights. I don't think they're too worried about getting items right now. As you can see, I'm taking time to clear camps as we get this fight one more time.
Yeah, so watch as the control ward is being contested. Blaber sees a window, actually gets the stun onto Arrow, and then pay your attention towards Dhokla. He goes for Sneaky, but Sneaky very quick to use his flash. That means Dhokla can't get out of the fight or get a kill.
Yep.
Ends up not having an effect as the two biggest gold members kind of neutralize each other in that fight. C9 able to take it with the initiation.
Really tough team to get on for Dhokla, as we were saying. Licorice goes away. You don't want to see Blaber or Zeyzal. You can hit Nisqy if they really need to peel on your targets, but you're not peeling with Akali too much. He's got his work cut out for him. He's got the ability to make plays with the Zanyas now. Gunblade finished, Sork boots in, and level 12, one of the highest in the games, along with the other solos, so he can make the plays. Eyes on Dhokla as they look to protect him in these fights, or start the fights, so he can get a free opening, I should say. He's doing his own protecting of himself. 2 Drakes to the side of C9 here as we just crest 20 minutes. 1 Mountain on the side of OpTic, and that Baron now stands tall with vision. Pretty nicely done by OpTic.
Yeah, Sneaky just got his Muramana transform as well down in his inventory, so he is at a really big power spike here, but OpTic not afraid to go themselves either. They see Kled in the side lane. If meteos sees a window, he's going to engage as well, because with that stone plate, he can actually buy a lot of time once he makes an engage. And OpTic has climbed back into this one a little bit. See if they attempt something on Licorice.
Yeah, they're trying to play a little bit of the bait game. No hook, line, and sinker from Licorice as he goes back to ward a little behind him. And not too many wards have been pushed forward for either team. C9's doing that work right now to make sure they're protected and they can start to use that advantage. Get a little return on an investment. Crown's seeing that a little late, but he definitely sees it. He starts to back up and get the safe position.
Yeah, that's what the control ward's for. It doesn't matter that it died. It let Crown know that there's a Sejuani in the area. It does become about vision control, and, well, that's not vision controlled, but they're going to try and burn this down, or at the very least get a fight. Already at half health, they're going to go for it. meteos is in.
Absolute draw of the fight. If they're not going to sweep the pit, they know they're going to go for a fight. They're going to try to burn it down, though, and that's C9 Blaber take onto the Baron. Cloud9 needs to exit now or take this fight because they are losing members. Or I'm sorry, OpTic is losing members, I should say. C9 health bar started to dwindle, but that's not the case in the end. OpTic starts to drop. And now Crown has to run. Arrow couldn't really get to the fight in the first place to deliver any ricochets. And C9 is looking full team to run down the lanes now with Baron.
Not only did C9 take control of the game with that very aggressive Baron call, Sneaky picked up his 2,000th career LCS assist in that play. So a huge milestone for Sneaky to hit in this game.
Same. Turn to mid lane, gonna go down. And top as well. They are just making quick work of the outer turrets. One in the bot lane if they even decide to head down there on this push. But I think it will be the reset. So C9 can come back and do it one more time. OpTic now needs the wards. They need to find an opening. And it has to almost be a big mistake from C9.
Yeah, want to kind of go back to that Baron call because I believe C9 kind of knew full well that it was going to be Envision since they didn't sweep their control. But basically, they saw Dhokla and Crown far enough away that they thought they could burn it, and then it was all about trying to keep meteos out of the pit. They basically killed it before meteos would have a chance to smite it as he kind of flash ulted to try and close the distance. That's one of those, technically, you could call it a 50-50, but he didn't quite make it. Could have been stolen, but that's just the type of game that C9 is willing to opt into, especially with the way they're playing. Still 19 kills over 23 minutes. absolutely, you're expecting them now to probably dive the instant they have an opportunity to get a kill.
So no joke, that front-end damage that OpTic did was pretty good, but you always forget how much healing Alistar can actually do in these fights. He healed, I think, 3 times in that fight, AoE, and you are just buffing, not buffing everybody, but he just made everybody so much bigger in that fight to keep going.
Dhokla trying to cut the wave and buy time. Actually does a very good job. There's just...
He's got to start these games.
3 minions and a cannon left. C9's going to try and use that to push, though. Knowing that Dhokla is actually delayed, they might try and dive quickly. All right. A little bit of restraint.
Yeah, pinging down towards the bot side. It's a dragon and a bit of cleanup. We can definitely add more pressure to this engage and not allow OpTic to fight us 5v5 on a mid turret. So again, C9 spread. They're going to go ahead and pick up another Infernal 2 for them here as we are 4 Drakes in. And we'll see what we get next. But Cloud9 has controlled the majority of the resources this game. But what a hell of a back and forth we had in the beginning. OpTic starting to claw back, but C9 found their footing again.
Yeah, just a slight misstep in the top lane. The good does come with the bad with how fast C9 is trying to play. But now they're going to have a decent stack in the mid lane as well to try this 4-1 split push. They have 33 seconds left, so that'll buy enough time for that mid wave to actually crash. We'll see if they try and dive on this cannon in either the mid or the top lane. It's going to depend on where OpTic put their players. Let's see if C9 tries to get an inhibitor on this push.
Teleports are up. I'd say the safest fight is under Nexus turrets, but you can get an Abyssal Voyager or teleport to any of these wards that are over by the Raptor camps for OpTic. They are strung right across that front line of their base right now as C9 is knocking now on the bottom door.
And something bottom probably if Blaber wants to go.
Dokla's on the back, Zeyzal into the back line as well. Glacial Prison finds Dhokla all the way through. Sniper, Blaber with the Sejuani. They're gonna lose Nisqy though. It's gonna be a tough fight inside the base of OpTic as OpTic is now looking for the priority members. That's big, almost going down, just a few more shots. Two-shot barrage, double kill as Crown lives with a sliver of health. A triple kill now for Sneaky as he finds another one with a Mystic shot over the shoulder, and it's going to be the inhibitor going down. Cloud9 look to squash the OpTic playoff hopes with this game right here. 22-9 in a barn burner. 25 minutes on the clock, and the finishing touches are coming in right now from C9.
I just love it when C9 is practicing this style of play because this is the stuff they're going to have to do to win an LCS championship or try and make it somewhere in Worlds. But what a decisive game they just played. Looks like they're going to pick up their 24th kill. Can they get a kill a minute? They have to wait on some respawn timers. Maybe they'll just kill the Nexus.
Big's in there. The great health will be there, but this, like you said, Jatt, is the kind of play you want to see. Cloud9 going hard. Playoffs is a different beast, and you got to be strong going in.
Yeah, with that win, C9 keeps their hopes of a playoff bye alive. That would require CLG to lose in our next game, but at the very least, they got Blaber some more stage reps. He's able to pick up another win. It is absolutely a threat to sub in Blaber for Svenskeren come playoffs, even though Svenskeren has been an MVP candidate. Don't forget how good Blaber can actually be, as the whole team of C9 really seem to kind of adopt an even more aggressive mentality. Not that they're not an aggressive team with Svenskeren, but that was a different level of proactivity.
Jatt, overall, teams across any region have difficulty swapping in and out players. It's been very fluid for C9 throughout the years. You even look at Kumo and Licorice in the top lane, other things that they've done, and they really seem to have a lockdown on how that process works. Looking good, as you said, still going for that buy as OpTic. Not as much for that playoff spot.
Yeah, OpTic is going to have to kind of wait and see what the cards have. Could still play tiebreakers. They can still make the playoffs. A lot of it depends on what happens throughout the rest of the day. So they were hoping to come into this week and pick up a win against their very tough schedule. They did not, and man, C9 is riding high after that one.
Absolutely. You can see how happy Nisqy is. They were able to take out the Irelia in the mid lane. He hasn't even played that for a few weeks now. He did have a week where he played it twice in a row. It was around, I believe, the Veigar week. But since then, they have kind of knocked down what he will be able to play in the mid. But he always seems to show up. Nisqy is definitely a player coming into his own. You got to watch this guy.
Yeah, especially the early games that he's been able to put together. Whenever they give him jungle attention, he is so comfortable in those very close skirmish situations, right? Going down to one hit against Azir, going flash for flash, immediately coming back to lane and killing them, right? That's the type of stuff when Nisqy can really gain an advantage.
Absolutely. A lot of power from the mid lane there. For more on that victory, however, Obli is standing by with Cloud9's jungler.
Thanks, guys. Blaber, you made that game for Crown and OpTic miserable with your jungling. I want to ask you, you take every single opportunity that you can to engage. So what gives you the confidence at the end of the day to make these plays?
Well, usually if I see an angle, I just go. I don't really think too much about it. This game I was trying to think a little bit more about my engages, but me and Nisqy were really fed. So I felt like any fight we took, like it doesn't matter how it starts, we would just win.
Yeah, Cloud9 fans know you as the player who just wants to engage, just wants to fight. But I want to ask you, is that a play style that you're happy and proud of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of proud of it. It's my own play style, but I do want to be more like, hold myself back, I guess, in some of my engages because a lot of them are really bad. So I want to improve on that for sure.
What would you say is the step to take to fix that?
Thinking more.
All right, we'll leave that job for Coach Reaper. But, I mean, speaking of that, he put you in on a very important game, last game of Week 9, and you needed to win this game in order to potentially have that tiebreaker with CLG. So what does having that trust of the team and the coach mean to you?
It means a lot. I think I've been playing pretty well recently, so I really appreciate like whenever I get to play. I mean, Svenskjaeren's been playing amazing this entire split, so every time I get to play, I'm really grateful for Reaper and the team like wanting to play with me. So it definitely feels good.
All right, now in order to potentially have that playoff bye, next game coming up is 100 Thieves versus CLG, and you need 100 Thieves to take that win. So tell me, is it going to happen?
Of course. We always get the bye.
Always get the bye. Thank you, congratulations again, Blaber. And for more of the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Avali, for what was
massacre.
Okay, great. There, Crumb said it. It was a massacre.
They fought back a little
by all
bit.
accounts. And yes, I think there is a portion of the game that we will talk about in which maybe Cloud9 got a little over-aggressive and OpTic made some good moves, Dhokla in particular, to kind of bring them back within striking distance, but it never really came to fruition.
Dude, you can't watch last 4 OpTic games without going past the 5-minute marks and making just ridiculous mistakes over and over the map. That roam from the river that just snowballed everything out of proportion. Like, they were winning the lanes. They were winning.
Go ahead.
For draft, I was going to say, for the draft, I like what the C9 did because we were talking about some of the concerns around the coordination between Nisqy and Blaber, and they went for a pretty easy to execute one. We talked about Gragas Yasuo. Sejuani Irelia is another one of these super easy to execute ones, and I think that was really important because of what Crumbs is talking about, these mid lane and bot lane fights that broke out time and time again. They were actually really, really close, and without having such a well-orchestrated duo, I don't know if it would have gone as well as it did.
Right. I think, interestingly, the game did play out in a lot of ways to the win conditions that were thrown out there. The idea that, you know, Cloud9 would want to focus around
This is that mistake, right? You're roaming bottom, not looking at whether they can collapse on you. And the Crown had just gotten such a big advantage in the mid lane, and I love what Zeyzal does here. Recognizes, you know what, this is a free kill. I got a fat combo here. 3-man. Not only do they get first blood, but then Crown, because he had to stay to help Big get out of that roam, ends up giving his advantage in the mid lane, and then for some reason they try to take a 2v2 here, which is a really
It's a close 2v2, but this is the power of that Sedge, Irelia, that you talk about, Mark.
Yeah, and I gotta criticize Crown. He didn't need to stay. He greeted out trying to push that wave in before he used his TP back to lane, so he could reset the wave. You don't need to do that. You have TP. You can just recall him TP. So Crown kind of threw away his own advantage after trading flashes in a 1-for-1. So it was one of those things where things started getting out of control. Then Licorice starts getting involved in it.
It was clear that the mental had been boomed.
The game got messy very quick, it is fair to say. As soon as those couple kills went over in the mid lane, you see Blaber unlocked to make visitation down to the bot lane, something we were prepared to ignore for the side of Cloud9, but because of those early kills is kind of enabled to go down and snowball it even harder. Again, huge lead for Cloud9 built up in the early game. I think, as is typical of Blaber C9 games, it's a little less focused in the closing out of the game, and we saw some of that chaos bubble up. We saw the gold lead, you know,
3,000.
Yeah, drop 3,000 back towards OpTic, but not enough, never enough for them to really come back and take anything from Cloud9.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that one, right? You just kind of gave a few kills away, but you know you're so far ahead. You have the confidence with you, and you can tell that OpTic was just taken back by the first few deaths that snowballed away from them. And from that point onward, they could have done anything. They didn't even do any steps to the Baron, by the way. They're just like,
clear vision.
Let's just do this and fight and win.
And that's kind of actually, I think, good to see for C9 in this version of it with Blaber in, because this is like the one that you put against TL after going 0-2 in a series, where you're like, we just need balls to the wall aggression, absolutely crazy, you know, nonstop, and you don't set up the vision and give TL time to work the vision game against you. You say, screw the vision game, we're forcing a Baron, make a play. Yeah. And I think, you know, you don't want that early on in a playoff run or something like that, but against TL in Championship Series, at Worlds, maybe like this other kind of more frenetic playstyle, it could be very useful to have in your back pocket.
Showing more looks, picking up the wins. Another milestone was hit here in the LCS today as Nisqy reaches 2,000 regular season assists here in this game. We'll take a look as that assist comes rolling in. It's important to note that he is the 4th LCS player all time to do so. Again, regular season assists. The other 3 who are already in that club are Aframu, Xmithy, and Xspecial. So he joins quite a prestigious club there in terms of player pedigree.
It's interesting that I think he might be the only bot laner to actually do it. The other 2 were junglers
2 supports and jungler.
So it makes a lot of sense for those roles to get it. But Nisqy now, with such a long career, is just going to rack up all the kills and assists.
Only laner, so to speak, to actually make this so far. So really impressive to see.
He's done it in 334 games. So again, just speaking to the longevity of his career, and that is only regular season games. We know that Cloud9 has been to a number of postseasons. Blaber even dropped it there, like, hey, we'd still like that bye. And so that's where we talk about the implications of standings from this game. OpTic is not out of the playoff picture. They are guaranteed a tiebreaker. There are a couple different tiebreak scenarios that are still available to them, so we won't get into those, but they are guaranteed at least that, while Cloud9, as Avli mentioned, is relying on 100 Thieves to beat CLG to possibly force a tiebreaker for that bye in the playoffs. On the other side of this break, though, 100 Thieves and Counterlogic Gaming square off for Game 2. Don't miss it.